have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. This is Scholar Tarek. Yes, not Scholar Jeff. Scholar Tarek. We're in my apartment. I kicked Scholar Jeff out. He's not allowed in my apartment for right now. No, he's fine. He's on his own assignment right now. But I do have Scholar Brian with me.
It's the end of the line. There's a roadblock on the way to the Royal Rumble. And does anyone give a crap?
Well, when you put it that way, not really. But yes, this is the Roadblock prediction show for the Scholars of Wrestling Show. Another prediction show with the whole 2 weeks of pay-per-view. But fortunately enough, this is actually going to be the last one, at least for the 2 week
period. That's a long time.
Proper time for proper build for one of the big 4 or potentially 5. And depends on how you look at it, pay-per-view.
And also, because remember, they normally do the 2 weeks of fun time for Christmas and New Year's. So
that's right. We're actually in the holiday week right now.
Yeah, they don't really build storylines that much during this point in time. It's like you do the face versus heel thing. The faces come out on top, and then the holiday season ends, and you're back to building the storylines for the pay-per-view.
Well, right now I think with what you're saying about them building storylines, this is reaching the point where they're ending certain storylines and starting to plant seeds for new storylines when the road to WrestleMania officially begins at the Royal Rumble. But we're not at the Royal Rumble. We're hitting the roadblock, end of the line, all that nonsense. Do you think Roadblock is becoming the new In Your House events? Do you see them having one like once or twice a year? Roadblock.
No,
hashtags, something else.
I think that they thought the Roadblock before WrestleMania did good.
Well, it did. I remember liking it. And then I actually looked at the results again recently. Actually, yeah, this past week. I'm like, wow, it actually was a pretty decent card.
But I think that gave them the go-ahead to make it a yearly pay-per-view. So it'll be a December show for the Raw brand for the foreseeable future. Because it did well enough in March, even though nobody cared about it going in. They were just like, oh, really? Why is this happening? and so they did...
You know why they did it? To show that Dean Ambrose is capable of being in the main event and could put on a better main event match against Triple H than his
Shield buddy Roman Reigns.
Shield brother
Roman
Reigns.
Because this was also the time where they were keeping Roman Reigns off of TV because they were going through the big cities going into WrestleMania, and they didn't want him booed out of the building before his big title match.
Wasn't this also in time of
WrestleMania
when he had the suspension?
No, the time when he had the suspension was right after Dean won the title.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Leading into the triple threat match.
Oh yeah, they want to sell on the whole that Triple H completely destroyed him. And much to their disappointment, the fans were actually losing their minds positively with that one.
Yeah, like it was one of the biggest cheers that Triple H ever got in his life. But
I doubt that. I mean, his return after his quad.
As I said, one of.
I didn't catch the one of. I just hear
the biggest pop of his career was, of course, when he returned for the quad. Because holy crap! But Roadblock is going to be an event for the foreseeable future. Do I see it happening more than once a year? Not anymore. I think that it did so well that they decided, yeah, this can get a yearly spot. But I really hope that they go back to the 7 weeks build for WrestleMania instead of we'll have Roadblock with 3 weeks left. What the hell do I care?
Well, we're reaching this roadblock, but we'll get to the predictions later in this episode. But first, let us go ahead. Let's unload our bags a little bit. We just got to the arena. We're preparing for the event. And now let's go peek behind that curtain and check in on a little
Backstage news.
And let's start things off with the biggest news to come out of this week. It was the announcement of the WWE UK Championship Tournament.
This really came out of nowhere for me. And especially you didn't get the announcement of the UK Championship Tournament first. You got the announcement of Nigel McGuinness being signed to host or compete or do something.
Oh, I actually looked this up. He's going to be the color commentator to Michael Cole's lead announcer.
You didn't hear about the UK tournament first. You heard about Nigel McGuinness signing on to be a color commentator first. And then about an hour later, they came in with the news of the UK Championship Tournament. And it's like, this is an out-of-the-box idea.
It's a very interesting idea.
Yeah, really. It's like the cruiserweights, okay, you felt it. People have been clamoring for the cruiserweights to come back, so they were like, okay, we'll throw you a bone. Here's a cruiserweight. Here's a cruiserweight classic. And then this really came out of nowhere for me. This was a random ass announcement on a random ass day. Am I excited for it? Of course. If it's anything like the Cruiserweight Classic, it's going to be a great...
Apparently it's a 2-night event for January 14th and January 15th. That particular weekend. That Saturday and Sunday. And...
Are they going to do it and air it over a set amount of weeks, or is it going to be like...
That, when I looked into it, I didn't see any of that. All I know is that they said it's a 2-night event. Saturday and Sunday, the 14th and the 15th of January next year. And it looks, I'm actually looking forward to it. It's actually making me want to reinstate my network subscription.
It's making me want to watch the network for more than pay-per-views. It's making me want to... I work long shifts, okay? Mm-hmm. Most of the time, I want to watch my wrestling show and go to bed. Okay, but now you have me interested. Yes, it might be airing on a weekend, but it's like you have me interested enough where I could see myself making an entire weekend of watching this UK tournament. Do I know a lot of the people in it? Not really. But the WWE in the last year has done a good job of making tournaments mean something.
What I'm really trying to figure out with all this is, like, what they're saying is that this whole thing is just to bring a new brand to the UK area. Is this just going to be another weekly show that they're going to do after the tournament is up with brand new characters, brand new wrestlers from the UK, and it's going to be weekly? They're going to have their own production overseas.
See, here's the problem.
Is that exactly what they're doing? That's the part I'm trying to figure out.
Here's the problem with that kind of thing. You're already risking oversaturation with the Cruiserweight show. Okay? Like, it's good that they have a show, but it's like, do I really want to sit down and watch it when I've already watched Raw and Smackdown? I watch NXT on a weekly basis. That's 6 hours of wrestling right there. Then you get the 3-hour pay-per-views, 9. Okay? Cruiserweight Classic, 10. You want to add You want to add on a UK show? That would be another hour. It's like 11 hours. By the end of the week.
Let's exclude pay-per-views because that happens like once or twice. Well, now twice a month. Well, which I'm hearing about them cutting down pay-per-views next year, which I am actually 100% for.
Yes, no doubt.
with the normal schedule, with the normal shows that could be airing weekly, 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, 1 hour of NXT. The 205 Live is an hour, correct?
Yes.
That's a new hour, and
Here's
you add the UK show. They'll probably add another hour. And then every once in a while it's the 3 to 4 hours of the pay per view. So yeah, it's estimated between 5 to 9 hours.
Here's the
week.
difference for me. Okay, the cruiserweights are not respected by the WWE brass. They're not. Say what you want, they're not.
I'm not arguing.
When you go,
I agree.
When they're on the main show, okay, those guys need their own show. So I'm okay with them having a cruiserweight only show. That's an hour long. I'm fine with that. Okay, the UK guys, they could easily get enough respect to make it on the main brands. So it's like, do I think they should have a UK only show? No. I think it's unnecessary. I think that if they're good enough on the tournament, if they show something to the brass, to me, whatever, I think they should be able to get a go on the main brands. And I think that they'd actually be given a shot, unlike the cruiserweights. Because a lot of guys coming in for this UK tournament have stuff that the WWE likes, and they would actually push them on the main show. There's a shot that they would get a push. The cruiserweights never had a shot to get more than 3-minute matches on Raw, and guess what? That's what they got. So yes, the cruiserweights deserve their own show. Do I want to see a UK only show? Not really. Because I think that these guys have the talent to actually get on the main roster, prove themselves, and become a force.
I guess the one real thing that you have to look into, because I agree with what you're saying, but personally, I feel the cruiserweights should not be on Raw. They should not be on SmackDown. With the creation of 205 Live, or whatever they want to call it,
they should stay there.
They should have it be their own separate show. Actually, personally, I feel like they should
and have matches on each pay-per-view.
Exactly. Change the scheduling for how they record these shows. Like, you know how I think they closed Main Event or Superstars.
Yeah, they do. They do it after SmackDown, which is awkward.
No, they do. They do it after SmackDown, but they should do what they do with whichever show they do on Raw.
Yeah,
Superstars is it's Superstars. And they got rid of Main Event.
Tape
correct?
it before.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the crowd's warming up show.
Yeah, to warm them up with 205 Live. You get your cruiserweight matches out of the way. You do it like Nitro did, where the first hour was like you had a promo, then you had a promo with the big guys, like the Hulk Hogan's, the Randy Savages, and all that. Then you had 45 minutes of cruiserweight action. Did they get out of the first hour? Really? But that first hour was a cruiserweight showcase.
That's why I would get rid of the live part and just record it and maybe air it after NXT.
I could see that.
That's the only, way it can really work because
air it after NXT where the Cruiserweight Classic time slot was.
Exactly. That is exactly it.
Yeah.
And it fits well because, like you said, they're filling in the Cruiserweight Classic spot. Yeah, I don't understand why they recorded after SmackDown. It's at that point where people want to go home. 10 to 11.
And about 75% of the people do go home, and that's not good.
Yeah, they should switch the time. They should switch it around. Have the cruiserweights be their dark matches to get the people ready for the main show.
Yeah, because the matches...
Once the main show's over, people are like, okay, I saw who I wanted to see. Why do I need to watch this?
Yeah, the main...
and it's not fair to the guys.
The main cruiserweight show, okay, is where the cruiserweights get their shot to show you what they can do. Rich Swann versus Brian Kendrick was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The first night, and guess what? Nobody was there to see it because they aired it immediately following SmackDown, which is people want to go home. They got there at 7. They saw their dark matches. They did the 2 hours of SmackDown, and now you're gonna make them watch an hour of cruiserweights.
An extra hour? No way. People.
No.
And it's them focusing on the kids. It's 10 o'clock. The kids should be getting ready to go home and get ready for school.
Yeah.
The next morning. So, but we got into the cruiserweights. Yeah, we were talking about the UK tournament.
We were talking about the UK tournament. We were wondering whether they were going to get their own TV show. I say they shouldn't. Because they actually have a shot on the main show.
I won't be against it. It's going against if the guys want to go overseas and go show up states to state for the main roster. See, with them being closer to home, if they do their own UK brand, I would understand why they did it. It's them like, yeah, I don't. It's like I got it. I'm getting the WWE money, and I'm doing it while I'm still in my home country. That type of ordeal. But either way, I'm actually happy for this. I'm really looking forward to this this tournament. And like I said, it's making me want to resubscribe to the WWE Network. All right, moving on to our next set of news. This one I actually just learned about a few minutes before we started recording, that Brock Lesnar got officially suspended from the UFC
for a year. Like that
his UFC 200 fight against Mark Hunt happened a good while ago.
Yeah, and now he's getting suspended for a year
for his 2 failed drug tests.
Well, my first thought was like, that's a lot. That's a big punishment for a first-time offense. But then I remembered that he failed 2, and then I was like, yeah, basically it's a second offense because you failed 2 of them. So yeah, standard is a year. So I was like, first off, I was like, that's a huge punishment, and then I was like, not really when you think about it, and like Brock Lesnar really cares about money, okay, because he has so much right now. He's making so much money to do what, maybe 15 appearances a year for the WWE.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I have to take another year to prepare for my next fight. Whoop-de-doo. I'm still making $5 million a year, making 15 appearances for the WWE, wrestling maybe 3 matches. That's it. It's no sweat off of his back. And Brock Lesnar for UFC would be an attraction now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's ever going to get any more title bouts or anything like that.
He doesn't need to be any more title. He's an attraction on his own.
So it's one of those, like, do I really care about Brock Lesnar in the UFC? Not when he's an attraction fighter. It's the same thing with CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't care what you're doing if you're only there as an attraction. If you're there, like, actually trying to get titles and doing that kind of deal, okay, yeah, CM Punk tried, but he turned into an attraction because he got beaten in 30 seconds. So,
well, we've already gone through what CM Punk.
Yeah, so it's
CM Punk in that fight,
and Brock Lesnar, now that he's going back to the UFC and doing those kind of fights, he's an attraction fighter, and I could care less.
And now he's suspended, so sorry, the attraction is delayed. Sorry, Brock, you shouldn't have failed those drug tests.
And that's another thing. Going to the Goldberg Brock Lesnar thing. What if that was a punishment for failing the drug tests?
Him losing,
and they're saying otherwise.
I'm actually believing that it was Brock's idea.
Oh, I'm sure.
To take that loss like that to build up him and Goldberg.
But I mean, there's also that underlying thing of if he didn't come up with that idea, would the WWE have gone ahead and done it anyway? Because of he
destroyed Randy
tests.
Orton immediately after the drug tests. I seriously doubt they were going to do that. I seriously doubt it. All right, moving on that. This one is going to be a little bit of a dig for you and me, but I had to add it anyway, and it's a congratulations, official congratulations, to the New Day for becoming the longest reigning tag team champions in the history of WWE, beating Demolition's record of 478 days. And now they're reached that point as the day of this recording, 481 days. And it's still going.
Good for you. Congratulations. You can lose to Cesaro and Sheamus now. That's it.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, once again, dude, I came into this title reign cheering them, thinking that they were really entertaining, and it's gone the way of John Cena to me. Okay, he had that 1.5 year long title reign, and by the end of it, I'm like, ugh, end it already.
Here we are. Point too.
And here we are with the New Day, and I'm at that point again. And now that they have the record, and now it's time. The pomp and circumstance is over. They have the record. Time to lose. That's it.
It really, a part of me really didn't want them to to beat Demolition's record just because it's been around for almost 20. Actually, I think it's over 20 years.
Yeah. But as soon as they started bringing it up, you knew.
But it was. But after, not even that. I'm actually now going to segue into. I'm actually going to do something a little different here. Normally we talk about this at the end of the show, but I'm going to bring in Raw versus Smackdown Live to the beginning of the show, or the midpoint of the show, wherever the hell we are. Let's see, 22 minutes in. So I guess that's the halfway point. But I'm going to do something a little different with our segment here. I'm going to try and expand on this. We're going to take a look at Raw and SmackDown separately, and then we're going to grade, and then we're going to give our official which one was the better show. And because of the holiday week in WWE, I'm actually going to add tribute to the troops to the lineup as well. So this is Raw versus SmackDown Live versus tribute to the troops. So let's go ahead and start looking at Raw. And the whole focus of the show was the New Day breaking the record.
Yeah, it's like they
off,
wrestled 2 matches.
Both matches were really good.
Both were triple threat matches.
And
they ran through some heavy competition, man.
Yeah, they really did. They really fought that to earn that record breaker.
So I can't begrudge them that. They've had to face down Cesaro, Sheamus, The Club, Jericho and Owens, and Roman Reigns and Rollins, and they still came out on top. So I have to give kudos, man. It was a good.
It was definitely a show to show that they earned the record breaker.
Yeah, they made them go through hell.
It actually made me change my mind on me getting very upset every time when they're winning the tournament, because it is upsetting when the whole build was just showing how they were managing to keep the tag titles being faces but doing heel tactics.
Uh-huh.
But really, I'm looking back and I was like, you know what? These guys really are one of the biggest attractions that WWE has right now. They are, and it's not because I don't like them when I don't want them to be tag team champions. I love them. It's just reached that point where it's happening so long. It's just basically there is no tag team division on Raw that I've said many times on this show.
I like them.
They were just
the story of them was getting a little stale. That was my big thing the whole time, and the fact that to me they should have lost it 5 times over by now. But the fact is, the gimmick was getting a little stale for me. For me personally. For a lot of people, it's different. Okay, you could tell on Raw that people wanted the New Day to break the record. They really wanted it. And the fact that they wrestled a good hour.
Both matches were amazing.
Of matches. The matches themselves were great. And that is a big point in my comparison for this week. Mm-hmm. The wrestling on Raw was fantastic.
There was actually very little.
There was very little, but what we got.
What I was going to say, there was very little for me to complain about with Raw. It was for a go home show for Roadblock, but I'm just watching. I'm like, you know what? God damn, this is actually a very entertaining show. The only real complaint I had with it is once again the length. It's just like even though it was a good show, I still was feeling the length. Too
much filler.
It was still feeling I'm still feeling the length of the show, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's only 10 o'clock. So much has happened, and I'm actually ready to turn it off, but there's still more going on.
But now they're throwing Jericho, Owens, Rollins, Reigns, and the New Day at me, and it's like, oh.
And yeah, I think it's just because the major focus, even though they were also cleverly building Roadblock, the main focus was the New Day, and I actually think that helped the episode. That made me enjoy what the New Day is about, and maybe like, you know what, they really do earn this title, this longest title reign title.
Yeah. The only problem I had with Raw is it didn't do enough to sell me on the actual big title match. Okay,
I'm not gonna lie, me neither.
It really didn't. I'm like, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns should be a huge thing. Okay, whether you like Roman Reigns or not, he's being treated as their guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, you would think that would be all over the screen on the Go Home show, but Roman Reigns comes out in the slowest manner possible to save Seth Rollins during the Owens Jericho beatdown.
With the Rollins report.
Yeah, and the only reason he gets the upper hand at the end of the show is because Jericho and Owens were arguing.
Yeah,
I'm like, they're saying that Roman Reigns has to look strong, but I'm telling you, man, during Raw he looked like a bitch. And that is not good. And that actually helped me make my prediction for Roadblock clear.
Okay.
Okay, that actually helped me, because if they were going to have him win, the focus would have been on the focus of the feud would have been on Roman Reigns. But it's not. So I don't think it's as cut and dry as a lot of people on the internet are making it out to be. So
and that actually is the real negative point that I have to give on the show. I told my positives, and now I'm gonna look at the negatives. That Lana Rusev bit was completely unnecessary. I called it. Hell, I was calling what they were saying. Is like, we're gonna show you what we do behind closed doors. I'm like, you people are really thinking that they're gonna do this? You people are morons. Or it's like, you people are stupid. You are stupid to think this. The next thing you know is like, they just showed the last week clip of them beating up on Enzo.
Yeah, I'm like,
and I'm just like, oh, you really think we're going to show you what happened after that? What do you people think? What are you people stupid?
This is not the Attitude Era. This is not the Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie age, where they with the hotel rooms and all that noise. This is not that time.
I actually said everything they said. I was like, what are you people stupid? And then they go, what are you stupid? It's like, these people, they're just so goddamn gullible. And then literally the next thing that was said was Lana's like, you people are so gullible. I was just like, I was asked.
And then
I was asked, did you write this segment? I was like, I might as well have, because the people here are really stupid to actually believe that they were going to show any dirty content, the morons. And of course, they were in Philly, so it was kind of, it was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Dig. I'd stab on Philly. But yeah, from that, the Rollins report really wasn't that. It had rough edges, and then when it came to the main event, because the main focus of the show was on New Day breaking the record, it took away from the main events, which were Seth Rollins, Jericho, Roman Reigns, and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, because it's like Seth Rollins has forgotten that he's in a feud with Chris Jericho, and he's still talking about going for the title, and he's still talking about Triple H. And I'm like, well, where's Roman Reigns? He's the one actually going for the title.
Yeah.
Where is he? So it's like, so that tells me something. That tells me where they're heading with that, and it's not the way that a lot of people think. So, but that was the one problem with Raw. It didn't do enough to sell me on the main event.
Okay, and now let's move on to Smackdown, which the first segment actually helped the show for me, was the fact that they were not having James Ellsworth versus AJ Styles for the WWE World Championship.
I'm sick. Sure.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you see him sneezing, coughing, looking. I'm like, you are not a good actor, James Ellsworth. Once again, why do you make me hate you so much? From the positive, like, oh, good, we're not going to have the match. The negatives, we're not having the match yet. The match is still going to happen. You have this idiot you have this moron being in the main event, fighting for the World Championship of WWE. Seriously, have the match. Ding, ding, ding. Dean Ambrose comes out. Dirty deeds. Match is over. Disqualification. That's it. James Ellsworth is not getting his title.
Not even disqualification. Dean Ambrose hits him with the dirty deeds and just like, here you go.
No. Even better. Dean Ambrose doesn't even have to lay a hand on James Ellsworth. He just comes out, pulls it. He just plays the music. James Ellsworth gets distracted, turns around into a phenomenal forearm.
And then you get Dean Ambrose murdering him in the middle of the ring.
And then you get Dean Ambrose come in and hopefully, I'm going to say it again, Hassan James Ellsworth. Because he is at that point.
He's killing SmackDown.
He really is. He is the main reason why SmackDown hasn't been good for the past couple of weeks for me. And it's different now because he was only in the opening segment. And at that point, SmackDown was generally good. Generally, except the tag team, the number one contender tag team battle royal.
Well, let's think about it first, okay? Because the match, the Hype Bros versus the Wyatt family is no longer happening. Okay, because Zack Ryder legitimately hurt his knee during that match.
I'll get to that in a minute.
So
it's the fact that one thing, the vaudevillains got taken out like bitches, even though what was it? It was Simon Gotch who got eliminated the second the match started.
Let's face it, okay? As much as we hate it, the vaudevillains are never going to go anywhere.
Disappointing.
They're not. You should release them right now and let them go on and do their thing in the indies. Because they're legitimately... They're worse jobbers than the Ascension at this point.
Yeah, they've reached the point where the Ascension is higher ranked. People actually have been noticing that, and that's a terrible thing. But yeah, back to the match. the fact that American Alpha, they were the obvious choice to win, but the second they got Chad Gable got eliminated to get the team eliminated, you heard the crowd being pissed, because I'm just like, oh my god, even I was pissed. I'm just like, are you kidding me? And then I saw who was left. Oh my god, they're gonna give it to the Hype Bros.
You knew right away when American Alpha got eliminated, they were going to give it to the Hype Bros.
I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh my god, that is a terrible idea. This is not good. And then next thing you know,
and then the gods smiled down upon us.
And then Zack Ryder won the match. I threw a fit. I was just like, are you kidding me? You cannot be serious. And then
you see him limping.
And you see him limping, and then literally a few hours later, I read that Zack Ryder injured his knee and he's not going to be in the match. I actually wanted to tweet this, but it was 1 a.m. when I found out about this news. So I'm just like, I was actually going to link it on our Facebook page, and just with the caption, they gave this moron the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. And then I would just have a little picture, or not a picture, just little caption, done, walk away.
Yep.
I was like, well, that was a complete waste of time.
Yeah, and now I don't know if you give the shot to American Alpha yet, because the first shot they get for the titles, they should win.
I don't even know what
American Alpha. So it's like, what do you do?
It just sucks because now even American Alpha is kind of being booked.
Because you can't...
Disappointingly.
You can't put American Alpha in the ring with the Wyatt family yet. Because you got to build the Wyatt family up to be unbeatable.
And what they're doing right now is an amazing start.
For American Alpha to eventually be the ones to bring them down. But in order to do that, you can't have American Alpha be the first challengers for the title. Because... then you have to let them get beat down. And it's like, no, and that's not going to work. Because you want American Alpha to be the ones to, like, finally bring down the beasts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so who do you have now? What face team do you have now that can go up against the Wyatt family to be fodder?
There isn't.
Because you broke up Slater and Rhino.
Yeah, you're breaking up Slater and Rhino. Even if you turn the Usos back to being faces, they're injured, so they can't do it. The Hype Bros, well, at least half of them got injured, so that takes out that team. American Alpha is not ready to face them unless they're just having a storyline where they are feuding, but not for the tag team titles. They'll probably add Kane to it. Kane and American Alpha versus the Wyatts, because that's what they're doing on house shows. But yeah, other than that, there really is no tag team. You can't have the Ascension. You can't have Breezango.
Because they're heels.
You can't have the Vaudevillains. They're heels, and they're being booked like shit.
Unless you turn the Wyatt family into, like, one of those factions that aren't heel or face.
Mm-hmm.
They just go after all comers.
Yeah.
Then you can throw those guys in the mix. But as of now, you have them as the heels. So it's like you've backed yourself into a corner, WWE. And the person you tried to have be the fodder, okay, because you know that the Hype Bros were going to be fodder.
Pretty much.
Going in. So it's like,
devoured.
So for me, it wasn't so much I was going to throw a fit. It was just like, oh, I know what's coming. I see what you're trying to do here. Does it bore me? Yes. As long as they don't win, I'm fine.
And now
because that's the only thing other than American Alpha that you have face-wise to face the Wyatt family. But now Zack Ryder done screwed himself up, and where do you go from here?
And now we'll just move on to the main event, which was a number one contender match for the WWE World Championship on the final Smackdown of the year, with Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz versus, surprisingly, Luke Harper. He just showed up out of nowhere.
That was the shock for me.
And I really liked it.
At the end of the Miz TV segment, that was the shock for me, because you expected Dean Ambrose because of what happened last week. You expected Dolph Ziggler because Dolph Ziggler and The Miz, and Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose have had feuds over the past few months, and they're building Dolph Ziggler as like a big name of the brand, and so it's like Luke Harper comes out, and you're like, what?
I was actually reading that Vince McMahon actually wants to start giving a mini push to Luke Harper, just so he can be on that same level as Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. So
have Luke Harper bring the Intercontinental title to the Wyatt family.
Exactly. That's exactly what what they want to do.
And Bray Wyatt has stated in interviews that he wants to face The Miz. He wants the Intercontinental title before he goes for the heavyweight title.
That's why I love Bray Wyatt so much. I love him.
He was like, I want to take over. I want all the titles. Whether they're on me, whether they're on my people. And then he was like, you have me, Randy, and Luke. Sometimes you bring in Braun. They haven't given up on Braun Strowman being a member of the Wyatt family. As much as they tried to show it at Survivor Series, he's still considered part of the Wyatt family.
I still like as the
and he did bring up Rowan being a part of the Wyatt family.
Well, he technically still is.
So
just
it's
injured.
So it's one of those. Wyatt family's still strong, man.
I
bring in those titles. Bring them in, man.
And when it came to the world title match itself, I'm actually really happy that Dolph Ziggler won, because the idea AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE World Championship. I'm sold. That's a pay-per-view event.
It's a great match.
That is definitely a pay-per-view match.
Like it was one of those. It came down to Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, and I was like, you know what? As much as I love Dean Ambrose, I'm here for something different. Give me something different. Was I a fan of Dolph Ziggler getting the title shot at SummerSlam? No. Am I a fan of Dolph Ziggler getting a title shot in December? Yeah. Why not? I'm like, I don't think that Dolph Ziggler is big enough at this point to get a major pay-per-view title shot. But, like, a B pay-per-view? Like, I know that they're doing it on a Smackdown.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if they had that Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler match, say, the Night of Champions, and hold off AJ versus Dean Ambrose for the October pay-per-view and all that, that would have been like, yes, give Dolph Ziggler the title shot. Did I think he deserved it at SummerSlam at the time? You all know that I said no. Even though they got to the point with the storyline build-up where I was like, okay, this is badass.
It is badass.
But now they needed to give AJ Styles time to heal the ankle injury, which is why they keep putting off the James Ellsworth match.
Hell, just this 1 week, just have him.
Well,
do what we said.
I understand
and that's
that.
Or just the Styles Clash. That's it.
I understand that completely, but apparently they want to make a thing of it, and AJ Styles just can't go in the ring yet.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
So it's
all right. Let's just quickly run down tribute to the troops, just so we can get to the prediction show. Come on, we're almost 45 minutes, and we haven't even started the prediction show
hey,
yet.
It's a big week.
We knew it was going to be a big show this week. When it came, I can be perfectly honest. I didn't watch it on TV.
I can honestly say
I only watched the highlights that they had on YouTube.
I can honestly straight up say that it's the best tribute to the Truth show I have ever watched.
It legit. Just from all the matches that they had. I actually just sat and watched just each match on YouTube. I didn't skip anything. I watched every match. All the matches.
Everything was good.
Everything was awesome. I actually had no complaints. Sheamus and Cesaro are being awesome right now. And like I said, as much as I want Cesaro to have a successful singles run, now him and Sheamus are actually one great unit.
Yeah, he is. They are bettering each other for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Once this is over.
Oh, Cesaro is shining in this.
Cesaro is shining. Sheamus is getting his groove back after the disaster that was the League of Nations. He's now getting his groove back. He's coming back into my good graces with this storyline. We didn't know how this was gonna go. You didn't like it because of your Cesaro boner. You didn't like it.
I'm not gonna lie, it is a big boner for Cesaro.
Yeah. And you felt it was holding him back. I'm not so sure anymore.
They're actually doing with Cesaro and Sheamus right. They really are. They're showing the strengths of both guys. They're letting both guys, especially, they're letting Cesaro shine.
Yeah.
Every time Cesaro gets a tag, he's on fire. I actually watched that hot tag that Cesaro did for the Raw Triple Threat Tag Team title match over and over again. And it was glorious every time I watched it. I never got tired of it. I actually posted that video on my page, Facebook page. Why isn't this guy a main eventer?
Yeah, it's like you didn't expect, even from the beginning of their feud with the best of 7, whatever. You did not expect that these two would be the ones to bring out the best in each other. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
Exactly.
That's it.
And let's see, we had that cruiserweight match. What was it? Jack Gallagher. I love him.
Jack Gallagher
he is the best. I am going to interfere in your match. And then oh my god, he is so funny.
Yeah.
I love it. He's just that like, yeah, I'll just bump my head on you. For a Dana Brooke Bailey match, it was typical. They're actually continuing. The fact that Charlotte was there actually made the match worth it.
Dana Brooke did not make me angry.
She didn't make me angry,
and that's all I have to say about that match. Because that whenever there's a Dana Brooke match, she either makes me angry or she doesn't, and she didn't. So hey, good TV.
Let's see. What other matches were there?
The Wyatt family
versus
American Alpha and Dolph Ziggler.
That was an awesome match.
And that was great.
That was a great match. I love that. Was just showing those are the top guys, right? That WWE, that Smackdown has right now, and I'm just loving every second of it.
Yeah, them 6, Dean Ambrose, The Miz, and AJ Styles. That is the cream of the crop on SmackDown right now, and 6 of them were given ample time to shine. Mm-hmm. At Tribute to the Troops, and shine they did. And let me tell you, that main event, okay, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Granted, we knew what the prediction was because it's America versus the foreigners.
Yeah,
Go America.
Roman Reigns and Big Cass
versus Rusev and Kevin Owens. Did you? I actually read that some of the some soldiers were actually left the main event. Once the main event started, they actually got up and left, like a good chunk of them.
Yeah, because they don't like Roman Reigns as much as the rest of us don't.
But even with Roman's closing statement, like after the show went off the air, I was like, you know what? That actually was natural.
Yeah.
He actually spoke truth on that one. That wasn't scripted. He actually did speak from the heart, and it actually worked.
Yeah. As I said at the beginning, and also, okay, we can't talk about Tribute to the Troops and not talk about the 2-minute long segment.
The segment that I intentionally saved for last which was the New
New
Day.
Day, the Club, and the returning Shield.
Oh, what I like about it is that what happened at Survivor Series, that wasn't just a one-off. They're officially back together.
Yeah,
and I love
They might be on separate shows, but
they're still brothers in arms.
Yeah, in 2014, right after Rollins turned, it was like you can't. The way that they were acting is like, how are they gonna come back from this? But 2 years later, we're here.
Yeah, and and they're their own separate characters.
And it's and
it fits.
It was
perfectly.
Once again, Roman Reigns as part of the Shield. That was his part in that promo was perfect.
Well,
it was like
all he said was nah.
It was like
what I like about it is that they were pulling their old Shield tactic, their old Shield slogan with like, you guys think you're the best? You're the best team? And then Dean Ambrose. Believe that?
And Roman Reigns is just like, nah.
That's another segment that I actually watched over and over again because everything about it was just so good. The New Day talking about their long title reign and showing how much they're making history and how they're the best stable. And then the Club comes in, tells them how they are the best stable, and they actually have the info to back it up, that they've been to Japan, they wrestled all over the world, they're one of the biggest, they became one of the biggest things.
And then you see the Club get a look on their face, and it's like, you know who's on the outside of the screen.
And then you see them. And then Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns.
And you're like,
and I'm just like,
and you're automatically back to 2 years ago when they were facing off against the Wyatt family, and you're like, yeah.
And then I just look at them like, really, these three teams really are the best thing in wrestling.
Like if for some reason, okay, AJ Styles doesn't have the World Heavyweight title going into WrestleMania, just have that match.
That triple
the
threat.
The New Day versus the Club versus the Shield.
Holy crap! That alone is just them standing around each corner. That's a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah,
that's a big WrestleMania moment to happen.
Yeah, so it's like, and once again, Seth Rollins being the little mouthpiece, going, did you really just say that you were the best team of all time? And Dean Ambrose going, believe that? And Roman Reigns, perfect. He hasn't hit a promo as good as that
just
in years. No, okay. It's also the look on his face, like the smirk and the shitty grin on his face, going, nah.
What I love about it is that when you look at the Shield and where they're at now, what they've done ever since they broke up,
they've taken over the WWE.
They really are the top stars of WWE's future. They really are. They are the top. Every AJ Styles, include AJ Styles to that list. Everything okay. Now we've reached the point where we're just gonna pick which show was the best. And honestly, of the initial Raw versus SmackDown,
I'm gonna go Raw.
I'm gonna just go on Raw too. But just barely. They were both really good shows.
They were both really good, but I gotta give it to Raw this time because the actual wrestling, the tag team title picture on Raw was fantastic. You got an hour of fantastic wrestling. There were some problems in the storyline bits, but the wrestling overtook it.
Yeah, it was not a boring show. Simply put, it was not no show this week was boring.
Yeah, it was like you did not have a moment of why am I watching this the entire week.
Yeah, for the only reason SmackDown lost is because of the booking decision that I don't agree with, which is the Hype Bros winning. Now it's different because Zack Ryder hit himself because he's fucking worthless. My one F-bomb in this show. But it's still when I look at what happened on the show, I can't have the Hype Bros take, like, the Hype Bros won, and I just can't accept that. So, but when it comes to the triple lineup, Tribute to the Troops took it.
Oh yeah, it was an hour
of perfect
of perfection.
Minus the well, I don't know if this happened on the official show, but when the sergeant gave his thank you speech, was that during the show?
I don't think it was during the show.
Okay, good, because when I actually watched it on YouTube, I actually stopped watching it because yes, he said all the thank yous, and after he did the thank yous, which he should have ended, he's like, I'm going to tell you a story about how so and so went so and so. I'm like, that I don't care. It's like, God bless America, but I don't care. That sounded horrible, actually. But other than that, just from what I saw, it makes me want to go and watch the show in its entirety. And there wasn't at any point where I was just like, there is nothing on this one. I think it was a perfect show. And it made me look forward. It made me like, this week in general has been the best week recently, because neither show was terrible.
Yeah, and let's hope they finish it off.
They finish off this shitty year with a bang.
Not even that. Let's finish off this week the way it should be.
Well, I'm gonna be that jackass and be like, well, you don't have to worry about the end of the week. Tomorrow's technically the end of the week, so they had a successful week with Roadblock officially being the beginning of next week.
You know what, asshole?
That's it. Hey, if you want to look at my logic, which actually is the real logic, because when you look at an official calendar, I'm right. So this really has been the best week for WWE.
Sure.
Shut up. You know I'm right. You can't argue my logic, because my logic makes sense.
Well, so my logic goes Monday to Sunday, not Sunday to Saturday. That's it.
It's like, well, my logic is this middle finger in your face. That's pretty much what you just said.
My logic is the steel-toed boot up your ass.
Okay. All right, now let's actually start going into... Since we're talking about it, let's talk about the beginning of next week with Roadblock End of the Line. Bitch.
Why not?
All right, let's get these predictions down in line. All right, first we got the pre-show with Big Cass versus Rusev.
I am going to go Big Cass.
All right, you say your prediction. Before I place my prediction, I'm just gonna say that because Scholar Jeff is not here, he gave me his predictions. He sent it to me before we started recording. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say any choices that he made. I'm going to just post it on the video. So for all you people listening and just listening in on our conversation, because we are still an audio format, a podcast format, when you look at the predictions, make sure you watch the video. You just look at the video to see Scholar Jeff's predictions, because he has his predictions, but I don't know his logic behind those decisions, so I can't really explain why he chose those. So we'll just leave the fool's predictions on the cards that I'm going to edit this thing together with.
Yeah, I am definitely. I feel like this entire thing was set up to be a Big Cass showcase. So I'm like, Enzo got taken out. Okay, so I think the Big Cass gets revenge, especially on a pre-show. I feel like I feel with it not being on the big show that they're not going to have any frills or anything like that. It's just gonna be straight up. It's a big man match. Is it gonna be good? I don't know. But definitely feel like Big Cass is going to take it with the way the storyline has been played out so far.
It's actually really funny that you say that, because when you really look at it, which people have pointed out, even people in the internet wrestling community, when you look at the storyline in its whole, it's Enzo Amore going to make moves on another man's wife, and Rusev is defending his wife, and Big Cass is defending the friend who was making the moves on another man's wife. So and it's funny that Rusev is still being booked as the heel.
So who's the heel here?
So who's the real heel here? Why are we supposed to defend the guy who's kind of what is it? What's the word? Adultery?
Yes.
Committing adultery on another man's wife. But WWE logic out the goddamn window. doesn't make a lick of sense. But yeah, it's only because it's the pre-show that I'm actually making the prediction. If it was on a bigger show, I probably would change my decision. But the whole reason of this feud is the main reason why Enzo and Cass haven't been going for the tag team championship. It's because Vince McMahon's high on Big Cass, and he wants Big Cass to have a good singles. He wants to focus the whole feud on Big Cass's single run. So I'm gonna go with Big Cass as well. Grab the pen. That's the wrong pen. But yeah, I don't like it, because I do like the fact that Rusev is kind of back on track with this, or has been back on track in general with how he's being booked, and I don't really want to see him lose. But it's like I said, it's the pre-show. It really doesn't make that much of an impact.
Yeah.
And
there's a chance that we're not even going to watch it. So
yeah, exactly. So moving on, let's move on to the main show.
I have a feeling that this is going to be a show where most of our predictions are the same. I feel that, because this is a show that feels very predictable.
Let's put that to the test, shall we? Next up, we got the main card, the main show, which this will probably open the show. The New Day defending their Raw Tag Team Championship against Cesaro and Sheamus. Who do you got?
It's time. As much as I congratulate,
it's not Vader time.
As much as I congratulated the New Day on holding the tag team championship for a record 481 days.
Right now it's 481, yeah.
Which by the time the show rolls around, it'll be 484. No, 483. 483 by the time the show rolls around, because we're doing this on a Friday night.
Just so you let people know, we don't record these live.
No. So it's like, yeah, it's nice that you got the record. Now it's time to let go of your title reign and finally give it to Cesaro and Sheamus, who really should have won it 2 months ago. But this has been building up for a long time. Cesaro and Sheamus are really the next big thing in the tag team division. Who would have thought that would have been the case?
Yeah, right.
But it's time. Give them the tag team titles. Let them have a run. The match itself will be great, because these matches have always been great. We just have a problem with the winners of these matches.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Going with new tag team champions Cesaro and Sheamus.
All right. It's really funny what you said at the beginning of these predictions. I'm actually going to disagree with you.
Seriously?
I'm going to say the New Day keeps the tag team championships.
I feel like he just said that because I said that at the beginning of the show.
No. This was actually my feel on it ever since Tribute to the Troops. yes, the New Day was complimenting Cesaro and Sheamus, which I did like, showing that they're becoming a strong unit, and the champs are giving them the nice rub. But it's really because of Tribute to the Troops and just how they were presenting themselves, that them making history, being one of the greatest factions. Do you really see the New Day losing the tag team championships on Roadblock?
Yes.
I think that if the New Day were going to lose the tag team titles, it's going to be on one of the big four. Probably WrestleMania. And it's only because they're now the record holder. They're now a huge deal now. Having them lose on such a low event, like a B- event. As much as these shows have been doing pretty well, these brand only shows, they're not just like B shows. They're like the B- shows, because there's so many. It's kind of losing their interest, or kind of losing, I guess, going to a title thing. It's losing its prestige. These events, which hopefully them cutting down the pay-per-views will help. But with the New Day being booked as now one of the big factions or big tag teams in history, the only place to really have them lose is either the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. That's my look on it. I love Cesaro and Sheamus right now. I love what they're doing with them. They are now becoming a huge attraction. Every time that they're wrestling, they're getting huge pops. Cesaro specifically. Or especially. But as much as I'd love to see Cesaro with a title, I just don't think it's going to be the tag team titles. And they're going to put on a great match. And this is most likely just going to be my devil's advocate choice, really. Because from how I see the New Day being presented, I can see Cesaro and Sheamus continuously going for him and winning it at a bigger event. Because looking down, once again, look at the tag team division Raw has. It's just like the tag team division SmackDown has. They have such a weak tag team division. It's really just New Day and Cesaro and Sheamus.
I just don't want this to go any longer, because it's like Cesaro and Sheamus have had 3 shots already. This is going back to the club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they've had 3 shots already. They've lost them all.
Oh, yeah, but you have to have the club as well.
So it's like they've had 3 shots already. They've lost them all. If they lose again, okay, they lose all credibility with me. So, and then it would be like, who would they bring in to win at said Royal Rumble or WrestleMania? I was like, because you can't.
They have to lose. I would see them having to lose against a heel tag team.
Yeah, so you give the club the shot again, and it's at that point.
Maybe it's a new team that just comes up on NXT. The Authors of Pain, maybe.
I just don't. I think it's time. Whether they're building him up or not,
I will be happy with whoever wins.
Yeah.
But with my official prediction, I say the New Day is going to keep it and they're going to keep it for a long while. They're going to make their title reign, like crazy long.
And also,
it's like impossible now for them for people to break it.
And also, it's like I've been rooting against the New Day since Midsummer. Every pay-per-view.
Oh, this is the first time in a long time that I've actually chose the New Day.
No, I'm saying like I'm sticking to my guns. I said in Midsummer I'm going to pick the opposing team
every time,
and I'm not changing that just because they were in a Who's the Best Team Ever segment at a Tribute to the Troops show. I'm not going to change it.
Do you see where
I see where you're coming from. I
don't agree with it.
I can't deal with the New Day tag team title run anymore. I give them props for the run. I give them props for having the record. But for me, it's time.
And now it's time to move on to the next match, which is Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn in a 10-minute match. That's all they got. 10 minutes.
I feel like Sami Zayn is going to last the 10 minutes, and then Braun Strowman's gonna murder him. That's
I'm actually so when the 10 minutes are up, it's a draw. That's how I read the rules. So there is no winner. Once the 10 limit mark is reached, it's an automatic draw.
I feel like I
think that's where they're going to go to.
Yeah, I think. But do they have the draw turn out to be like a Sami Zayn win? I mean, like Sami Zayn lasted the 10 minutes with Braun Strowman. It's a win for Sami Zayn.
It's a win for Sami Zayn, just not an official win.
Which is why I'm kind of confused. So it's like, Sami Zayn will definitely last the 10 minutes. Do I count it as a win for Sami Zayn?
No.
Then we're going draw.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to say it. No. It's not a win. It's not a win for either man.
Or not even, don't even do that as a result kind of deal. Like, it's a yes or no question. Does Sami Zayn last the full 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yes. So mark down yes. That's it.
I'll just put draw / yes when I put these things together, because when we'll explain how this works, explain why the yes is there. Yes. All right, moving on is the cruiserweight triple threat match for the cruiserweight championship. The champion Richard Swann, or Witch Swan, whichever way he wants to call it, versus the Brian Kendrick versus T.J. Perkins.
Rich Swann to retain.
Of course.
I feel like Brian Kendrick and T.J. Perkins are there to cancel each other out.
Oh, I'm going with it too. I'm just writing it down. Yeah, they just gave the belt to Rich Swann.
On the inaugural episode of 205 Live, they're not going to have him lose it at his first pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely not. All right, moving on. It's such a shame. I wish we could say more about that, but really, there's nothing much else to say. Next is another. Oh, that's not. Is the Iron Man match, the 30-minute Iron Man match for the Raw Women's Championship. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte.
Does anyone else have the feeling like this has got a main event to show?
No, I don't think it is.
I get it, because it's the one match that signifies end of the line.
It's not going. I don't think it's going to close the show.
And it's the one gimmick match. I'm like, I don't know, man. I could see it closing the show. Especially with the way that Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns was booked on Raw.
I honestly don't see it.
Well, I am going to say it main events the show, and I'm going to say that Sasha Banks finally breaks the pay-per-view curse. Sasha Banks wins the title, wins the Iron Woman match, to later turn heel and have Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the title at WrestleMania. But I feel like in order for this feud to end, Sasha Banks needs a definitive victory after a definitive victory. She needs 2 definitive victories in a row, and this is what that Iron Woman match will do. Sasha Banks finally gets that elusive pay-per-view victory.
And breaks Charlotte's undefeated pay-per-view record?
Yes. End of the line for Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Do not have another match.
It's the end of them having a one-on-one. Now they're just going to add Bayley in so they can have a triple threat match at WrestleMania.
I don't think so.
No, I'm just throwing that out. I don't even believe that. I'm just trying to be an asshole here. It's actually really funny because this was the hardest match for me, and it still is. It's just Vince McMahon is now really high on Charlotte's undefeated streak on pay-per-views. When did they debut, Sasha and Charlotte? When did they show up on the main?
SummerSlam?
Before SummerSlam?
Before SummerSlam 2015.
All right, the last two are probably going to be the same prediction. I'm just going to throw this one in just so we can have different opinions, because now this whole feud has now reached my limit. I've surpassed the limit of Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. I'm tired of them. I don't want to see them. They have been making history, but it's because the only reason they're making history is because they're the only one. They're only ones that WWE is allowing to make history. And here's a Scholar's quick talk for you out of nowhere. Do you think this match was going to be better than Sasha Banks versus Bayley's Iron Man match at NXT TakeOver?
Yes, I do. Because I feel like it's on a bigger... Because it's on a bigger stage and all that, and I feel that Charlotte is a better wrestler than Bayley. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I really do think that Charlotte is a better wrestler than Bayley. The reason I say Sasha Banks for the win is because the only way for this feud to end is by having two definitive victories. If Charlotte wins, we're getting another match.
No, we're not.
We are.
How?
Because it's not the end of the line, because then the champion gets a rematch.
Nope.
Yes.
They actually took that rule out. They are actually making this, no matter who wins, this is their final match.
The only thing that makes sense to me,
I would agree with you with that, but they made it official. There is no rematch. If Sasha loses, that's it.
Which is also a reason for her to win, because whenever they give the ultimatum, the person they give the ultimatum to wins. They gave the ultimatum to Sasha Banks, saying if you lose, you do not get another title shot.
You know what? I just don't give a shit about this feud anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what? I said I was going to be opposite on this one. I changed my mind because honestly, I hate this. I'm tired of this. I'm going to pick Sasha Banks just because I don't care. I'm just throwing a name out. I'm probably going to be wrong because Vince is more higher on Charlotte, but they have to turn Sasha Banks heel.
Yes,
they have to. I'm tired of her as a face. I'm tired of them. I've reached my limit with them. I want something new. Bayley is just sitting there, wasting time on Dana Brooke. This is like all she's facing is either Dana Brooke or Alicia Fox.
Yeah, and that's a waste of her talent.
It's a waste of her talent,
and they've said straight up that they want Sasha Banks versus Bayley.
They did that whole thing with Charlotte accompanying Dana Brooke at the tribute to the troops, and could add to a factor of them.
Have a tag team match, and then after the tag team match, Sasha Banks turns on Bayley. Bam! There's your feud. It ends all the other feuds and goes straight into Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Sasha Banks is the heel, Bayley is the face. Boom! I booked it. We can move on.
Although I would love to see Charlotte versus Bayley. Because I don't even think... Have we ever really gotten a Charlotte versus Bayley match one-on-one?
Yes.
Was it NXT or main roster? Or both?
Main roster. Bayley came up, beat Charlotte, and Sasha Banks still got the title shot.
Man, Bayley just got really shafted in this. Yeah. Hell, fuck it. My second F-bomb.
And they made it a triple threat match, and Bayley was the one who got pinned.
She really got shafted. I'm hating the Raw Women's division. I really hate it. I'm sorry. They have great talent, but it's the booking wise. It's just I'm just not into it. I tried. I was into it at first, but now it's just the same. It's repeat. Same old shit.
The minute they went dueling title runs, it's like, dude.
They're playing hot potato with it. Yeah. Seriously, I like Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch more. I just feel bad for the rest of the women's division on Raw and SmackDown. Because they're just like, oh, of course, another Sasha versus Charlotte. Even they're starting to get frustrated on this. And I don't even think it's really, I don't even think it's supposed to be scripted. I think they really are voicing their frustrations. Alright, moving on. We already placed our predictions. Why are we still talking about this? Wow, god damn. Next is the Jericho versus Seth Rollins. I'm going to pick this one. I think they're going to go with Seth Rollins.
I don't think so. You want to know why? I feel that they want to set up Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho breaking up and having a title match at the Royal Rumble. Therefore, in order for Chris Jericho to be a worthy contender, and with a face turn and all that, I can see him beating Rollins clean.
I don't see it.
I'm going Jericho. I'm going Jericho because the money feud right now would be Jericho and Owens. It would be. They're the ones getting the most reactions on Raw. And it is cash money for Jericho and Owens to fight. And in order for Jericho to be a worthy challenger, he has to win. Therefore, I'm going Jericho.
The only reason really I'm picking Rollins is because they want to start focusing on having him versus Triple H at Mania. And having him lose would hurt him more, saying, okay, you're not really that top contender.
What if, okay, he's been bringing up Triple H. Okay, what if Triple H shows up? Doesn't do anything, but the music hits. Okay, because it doesn't matter now who Seth Rollins' opponent is when Triple H shows up, because Seth Rollins has taken to deliberately calling out Triple H instead of his opponent. So it's like, what if Triple H shows up?
I actually did think about that, but I don't think it's going to happen. We've been saying Triple H should interfere in lots of matches. I don't think he's going to show. I think if anything, he'll show up the next night on Raw.
I feel like it's more possible now because Seth Rollins has finally come out and just said straight up, like, he's been more about the title in months past. He's been mentioning Triple H here and there, but he's been more about the title. Now, even though he's facing Jericho, he's all about I demand Triple H. I want Triple H, and I have a feeling at end of the line roadblock, he's gonna get some Triple H. That's it.
I just see him I see him having the match, and he'll reach the pedigree going, "Where are you, Triple H? Come on out, Triple H," and then hit the pedigree 1, 2, 3. I just can't see Jericho winning this one. I'm just having I'm having a hard time seeing it. All right, let's move on let's end this show with the main event, which is going to be the main event, mind you, as I look at you in your eyes. Don't look away from me. Don't look away from me. I'm being honest right here. I think this is going to close out the show. Kevin Owens defending the WWE Universal Championship against the United States Champion, Roman Reigns. Reigns isn't winning it. No. We're just going to say he's not winning the belt.
For me, it goes along with my Owens versus Jericho Royal Rumble title match theory, because in my eyes, I think they want Rollins and Reigns in the Rumble for maximum star power.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, it's a good placeholder feud. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the Royal Rumble. You don't expect a title switch at the Royal Rumble. Jericho's there in this feud to put over, in this storyline to put over Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying Jericho wins and they turn on each other in the upcoming weeks and have that match where he finally fully puts over Kevin Owens before he goes off to do his to do his Fuzzy thing. So that's why I think Jericho wins. Because they've got to get that match out of the way. Because he's going in the next couple months to do his Fuzzy thing. So, and they got to have a match at some point. So I'm like, Royal Rumble, you have that match.
I think Royal Rumble, they'll have that match.
So, Royal Rumble, you have that match. Jericho is the face, Owens as the heel, and Owens puts Jericho out. Cementing Kevin Owens' heel role going into WrestleMania facing whoever he's going to face. Probably feeling Finn Balor. Feeling it.
If he comes back.
And there's a shot. So, yeah, Owens wins.
Yeah, Owens wins.
Owens wins. Down. Oh, the heels... I feel like the heels win out in the main event. I feel like it's got to be one of those shows.
Huh. And I can't argue that one. But now, you all heard what we think. We want to know what you think. If you want, you can leave a comment on this video placing your predictions for Roadblock End of the Line. If you like what you heard this entire hour and a half show, yeah, we reached an hour and a half, Brian. Be sure to.
We did call it.
Yeah, we said it's got to be a long show, and because it rightfully so, it was a very, very productive week in the world of professional wrestling. If you like what you hear, be sure to like our video, and if you want to hear more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to find us on our Facebook page. Look up the Scholars OW, or the Scholars of Wrestling Show, and you can also find us on Twitter. Our official Scholars page at Scholars OW. You can find me at The Avatar, and you can find Brian at
The Atomic Beanpole.
And you can find our third co-host, Robbie Rage. I'm Robbie Rage, all one word. You see, Jeff? You see how nice and clear that was?
No apostrophe.
No apostrophe, no adding other bullshit like that. If you want to... it's so great that he's not here and he can't defend himself.
Winning.
Yeah, right? Thank you, Charlie. Thank you all for listening in. You know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. Enjoy Roadblock, and we'll see you all next week.
In the Sport Lord!